you must be a registered member on the national database. So I wish to start by warning those who claim to be having registers. There is only one register, and it is at the headquarters, and the custodian is the Secretary General. Because of some political disagreements, which are normal anyway, I see the media gets so excited whenever there are disagreements. We are politicians, and our job is to disagree, to debate, and to exchange words, some of them very sharp. That will happen until Jesus returns. So, because of that, you find a situation where a chairman from Maracha district, which is almost near the Sudan border, can deliver returns with thousands of registered members. But chairmen in our Kampala districts are yet to deliver their returns. Why? Because of political posturing. And the political posturing is based on a very silly idea that to win the next election, you must distance yourself from MAO, who has sold the party, who has now been captured by NRM. So this posturing is not actually for building DP. This posturing is for their so-called electorate. I find that kind of posturing to be very cheap. When you have a problem with the leadership of your party, the constitution of DP has enough room to deal with all the problems. So that answers the question of who will participate. Members in good standing who are on the national register. The rest, really, they are none of our business. What can we do? This is like UNEP. Unless you are registered, you can't show up. Even if you are the most brilliant, who can recite these other tough books we used to read, like Backhouse of Mathematics, and so on. The examiner will say, sorry, you are not registered to sit. Because the requirement is not that you are brilliant or that you are prepared for the exam. The requirement is that you are registered to sit the exam. So that is the only test that you have to pass. The second question is, who will supervise this process? Now the supervision happens hierarchically. I'll mention it. The NEC supervises the district supervises the constituency supervises the sub-county supervises the parishes or wards. The parishes supervise the villages and ourselves. That's the straight answer of who supervises who. Number 3, what if there are disputes? There are bound to be disputes. Like in any election, maybe you have been overcharged. Like in Kampala, Kampala was a cartel of thieves. People used to collect money, they don't declare it. Some of the Kampala leaders even used to demand sex. I'm about to start naming some of them. It was tragic. You want to contest for a position in the party leader says, let's meet in this hotel. And you think you are going to sit in the compound around the table to take a cup of tea. Then the person says, I've sent somebody to bring you where I am. then somebody takes you to a hotel room. So you people do not know the amount of cleaning up we have had to do since we took charge of this party. Up to now, there are people who should be in jail for corruption among the Kampala leaders. We only forgave them. We have so many cases of sexual harassment. Why do you think we passed the policy against sexual harassment in DP? Because it was so rampant. And the headquarters of corruption and sexual harassment was Kampala. And that crusade has continued. Now, at least, our young ladies are safe from the predators, who, if I'm provoked, I will start naming. So, to deal with those disputes, we have got mediation and arbitration mechanisms. By mediation, we bring trusted people to give us advice. Arbitration is where the party listens to both sides and then makes a decision. So those are the three general guidelines to avoid confusion. There should be no confusion about who is allowed to participate. It is not a general happiness. Just like I cannot go for hijab, you know, and nobody MAO saying I'm also lining up to go for hijab because I can afford an air ticket to go to Mecca. That would be the joke. I'm just a tourist. So this process is not for political tourists and nomads. It's for members of DP in good standing. Fortunately, because I've been around here for some time, I now know the nomads, and we know how to deal with them. Then supervision is hierarchical. And then where there's a dispute, we have a mechanism to resolve it. I would like to assure all the members of DP, and indeed the nation, that whatever is wrong with DP can be fixed by whatever is right with the DP. There are so many things that are right with the DP. They can fix all the wrongs. Let me give you my own personal example on how a leader who is aggrieved can marshal political tools to see that they are listened to by party leaders. 2005, I showed up as a presidential candidate in Nambola. I was a candidate. I was beaten fairly and squarely, and I congratulated the winner. Then I saw the processes of election of other leaders, which was not done in accordance with the party constitution. It was basically a mob. Many of the people with whom we took charge of the party in 2010 were victims of Nambola. So what did I do? I did not address a press conference insulting anybody or abusing anybody's mother. Because one mark of a politician is that you must have a base, however small. And it is your base which fights. Now, I am from Gulu branch. So when the delegates conference now went into electing regional leaders, I addressed the meeting and I told them that, in my opinion, the National Executive Committee being elected has demonstrated some of the worst characteristics in the politics of DP. I also said that the processes have not been democratic. For that reason, I proposed that we would not elect our regional representatives to join the NEC. We would remain loyal to the elected leaders, but we would demand that the new leaders should, as quickly as possible, come and meet us at our home in the north, so that we talk about our problems. Now, that's how a responsible leader behaves. You don't start shooting in all directions. Indeed, I even became the national campaign director for Sebana Kizito. Who beat me? Those with whom he was elected, for instance, like the Deputy Secretary General, Dr. Baiga, was busy running around with Dr. Besiki while claiming to be deep. So that is the kind of political confusion this national leadership is determined to deal with. If you are working with any other political party, it must not be that you are now nominally here, but in reality you are selling off the DP leaders. I then invited my current vice president to be the deputy campaign director for Sebana Kizito. And we moved all around the country campaigning for him. That year, I had retired from parliament. I got nominated to be LC5 chairman. I didn't campaign, but I was still elected by 80% of the votes as chairman of Bulo district. The National Executive Committee of DP did not come to Bulo until 2008. From 2005, when the Nambole election took place, up to 2008, that's when they came. We waited patiently, and we remained loyal to the leadership. So this is how to manage disputes in a political party. I respect somebody who uses political levers and internal mechanisms. In the case of DP, people go to court. They don't even write to tell you what they are disagreeing with. Others declare themselves to be president. You remember when Elias Lukwago held a parallel delegates conference in Luwe? Then they put flowers around his neck that now he's the president of DP. It's like if I stand here and declare myself a pope, I think it should be a joke. Popes are elected by cardinals. So if the cardinals have not elected you, it is not the clothing which makes you a pope. Then, Sam Lubega Mukaku, the most famous political nomad of the millennium, also declared himself DP president. Then last year, two others declared themselves president, Lulume and Sebamana. But these are supposed to be educated people who know the party constitution. I can fight. I know how to fight. But fight seriously also. Don't just fight like a joker. I have given you an example of how we fought to reform the processes. So for the first time as we went to Mbale, nominations of party leaders was done at party headquarters. Those of you who are elderly like Mzee Luanga will tell you that the Mbale election was the first election ever where people were nominated before they went to a delegates conference. That was a major reform for which we fought. There's actually enough room in DP to change how the party runs, provided you are serious. So we feel insulted when people who are not serious are confusing people. Our group was very serious, and it means that when you are serious, you tell each other the truth. I've always told you, for instance, my current vice president wanted to be vice president of the party in Bali. But we were going for a generational shift of leadership. We were moving from the generation. Imagine the people who had been leading DP were people born in 1920s and 1930s. Now we jumped a generation. The person who would have been of the next generation was Haji Sebagala. That's the generation born in the 40s and 50s. I want you to get this clearly. From Engineer Kasolo to Matayo Mugwanya, Benedicto Kiwanuka, Paul Kawanga Semobele, and Sebana Kizito, that was one group born in the 20s and 30s. That was their year. Now the next generation was supposed to be those born in the 40s and 50s. And Sebagala was in that generation. But we knew that he was not the most suitable for the party at that time. And we had prepared to win, and we knew we were going to win. And we also had the support of the incumbent president, who wanted a generational shift. So I had the difficult task of inviting my vice president now, Honorable Mbite, to a very difficult meeting opposite Christ the King. Now in politics, you must have that capacity to have difficult conversations with those you love. I told him, my friend, I won't support you to be vice president because it is going to present a big problem. The party has been in the hands of these very old men. They don't trust us. Let us bring one of that generation, of those born in the 40s and 50s, to be in the position of second in command. And I proposed Honorable John Baptist Kawan. And also, at that time, my current vice president was also not qualified for that position constitutionally. But there could have been waivers and so on. But I think for me, the main argument was a political reason. Of course, he protested, and even his supporters came and attempted to disrupt the delegates' conference. They grabbed the microphone from Honorable Paul Bukini. They left him just with his hand. The microphone was gone. They attempted violence, but of course that doesn't work in DP. Because what if they are adjourned the delegates' conference? So eventually he became our national legal advisor, and I don't think there has been a national legal advisor who has performed better than him, defending the party in over 40 cases. So I'm elaborating this point that in DP there is enough room to settle disputes without going into unnecessary conflict. And that is really the advice I would like to give to all those who are running around with all sorts of things.